Hi and welcome back. Let's dive straight into episode 7. Today I want to talk about something that lives underneath so many of our choices: the tangled, complicated, and often painful relationship between money and worth. Not the practical side of money. The practical side has its place, and we can talk about that another time. But I mean the emotional side. The way money can quietly become the measure of who we are, what we deserve, and how much space we are allowed to take up, without us ever consciously agreeing to that arrangement. This is not an easy episode, and if some of what I share resonates uncomfortably, that's the exact feeling I'm inviting you toward, because it usually means we've arrived somewhere true. I was the provider for many years. Single mother, 2 daughters, demanding career. I earned well, managed carefully, and felt in some deep, unspoken way that being good with money was a form of love. It meant being capable, and it was proof that despite everything, I was doing it right. Money equaled security, stability, ability to say, my children will not go without. Whatever else is uncertain, they will have what they need. And that connection between money and safety, between income and worthiness, became deeply embedded in how I understood myself. Then my marriage ended and something in me broke a little. Not loudly, not in a way I could have explained at the time, but money had failed to save something precious to me. And somewhere in my subconscious, in the place where we store our most complicated feelings, I turned on it. I started to see money as the problem, the thing that created pressure, comparison, and ultimately couldn't buy what truly mattered. I know how irrational that sounds. Money is neutral. It is a resource, a tool, a form of exchange. It doesn't have feelings or intentions, but we attach stories to it, and those stories become our relationship with it. And for a time, my story was, money is not to be trusted. Having it doesn't make you safe. Wanting it makes you shallow. I think many women have this relationship with money and never quite voice it. We need it, we earn it, we manage it. And somewhere along the way, we also quietly resent it for what it can't do. That's worth naming because unnamed feelings run us. When my body changed and my energy shifted during menopause, when the relentless space I'd maintained for decades became genuinely unsustainable, an uncomfortable question surfaced. If I'm not operating at the same level I used to, what does it say about me? Because underneath it was a belief that I had never properly examined that was my value fluctuated with my output, that I was worth more when I was producing more, that rest, slowness, reduced capacity meant reduced worth. This belief is widespread. It's almost cultural. We measure people and ourselves by what we do, by our titles, our output, productivity, and efficiency. And when those things change, when life asks us to slow down or step back or begin again, we experience it as a loss of self, as though the doing and the being were the same thing. But worth doesn't work that way. It doesn't rise and fall with performance. It doesn't depend on how busy you are, how much you earn, how useful you are to other people around you. It simply exists, constant and unchanged, whether you're at the peak of your output or sitting quietly in a season of restoration. The freedom that came from really believing that, not just knowing it as a concept, not just nodding at it in a podcast, but feeling it in my bones, making decisions from it, changed everything for me. I stopped choosing from the fear of becoming irrelevant and started choosing from trust. Self-trust is a phrase we use a lot in wellness spaces, and I want to be specific about what I actually mean by it, because it's not the same as confidence. Confidence can be performed. Self-trust runs deeper than that. Self-trust is the quiet knowing that even when you can't see the whole path, you are capable of navigating it. That your instincts, honed over decades of living, are a reliable source of guidance. That you don't need external validation to feel certain that the decision is right for you. Some of the healthiest financial decisions I've made didn't come from ambition or urgency or competitive comparison. They came from a quiet place, trusting that I don't need to exhaust myself to remain valuable. That slowing down doesn't mean disappearing. I can redefine what enough looks like for this season, with this body, and at this pace. When worth is no longer tied to performance, you move differently. You negotiate differently. You give differently. Not from proving, but from knowing. And that knowing is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need applause. It just steadies you in a way that no external achievement has ever managed to do. When I started HPO, I underpriced everything. Classic story of any small business I know. But it came from a specific place. I felt guilty charging what things were actually worth because somewhere underneath I still felt like I had to justify my value. Like people needed a bargain to say yes to me. Then I had a conversation with myself, an honest one, the kind that happens in silence, and I asked, what are you actually afraid of? And the answer was that they won't think I'm worth it. There it was, that sentence. Not about the product at all, about me. And when I saw it that clearly, I could do something about it. I could say that's old. That's the story from before. That's not the story I'm writing now. I raised my prices, not arbitrarily, but based on actual value of what I create, what I put into it, and what it does for people. And not a single thing fell apart. In fact, the quality of connection with my customers deepened. Because when you charge honestly, you attract people who value what you do, and that changes the landscape. This has been an intense episode, and for this week, I want you to journal this. I want you to finish this sentence honestly. I believe my worth depends on ... And let yourself see what comes up without editing. Ask yourself, where am I making decisions from fear or losing value rather than from genuine choice? In your work, in your relationships, your daily life, just notice. Write down 3 things you value about yourself that have nothing to do with what you produce or earn. They can be qualities, ways of being, things you bring to a room. This is not as easy as it sounds, and it's exactly why it matters. So we're at the end of this episode. We've got 3 weeks to go, and I hope you're enjoying these episodes as much as I love doing them. Next week, we lighten things up and explore creativity, play, and why allowing yourself to be a beginner again might be the most expansive thing you do for yourself.